Hi,
Hello,
Noah.
Jack and Ben, good morning.
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 How's it going, guys?
It's early, but
Yeah.
not bad.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm here on the East Coast. I probably didn't have to get up as early as you guys, but y'all are over there on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to be here and spend the morning with you guys. So let's talk about the series Pennyworth. I want to know what attracted you both to want to be part of the project, and how is it like to get into character and play it on screen?
The thing, like every other job, this landed in my inbox, and I'd sort of read the premise, and I thought, really, the butler? Right, okay. But Bruno's script, Bruno Heller, our showrunner and creator, his fantastic script was what grabbed me. And the world in which this is set was the first thing that excited me. It's a few pages into the script. It's almost a whole page. He describes this London, this 1960s London, but a DC 1960s London, which we're calling 13 degrees weirder and darker than the London that was. And he described what that meant, and that really grabbed my imagination. So that was the first thing for me, really.
So this show being based on the DC comics, were you both fans of the DC universe growing up before, of course, landing the role to be part of this extraordinary, incredible show?
I was definitely into. I mean, there's another famous rival of DC, isn't there? Which I probably shouldn't mention. But I was a bit of an X-Men nerd with the cartoons. But then I also definitely remember the Tim Burton films featuring in my childhood, and have a clear memory of those, like Danny DeVito as the Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. And I was a bit obsessed with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Just the scene where she gets knocked unconscious and the cats nibble at her fingers and then she becomes Catwoman, I just thought was so brilliant. Might have tried to recreate that myself when I was very young and went and drank a pint of milk. But yeah, I think you can't have grown up without being aware of DC or of Batman. So yeah.
I remember dressing up as the characters for Halloween. I don't know if you guys ever did any of that. I mean, when I was a kid, when my mom would take me out to go trick-or-treating for Halloween, then we would dress up as the characters, and she's like, oh, come on, let's go. Let's go trick-or-treat.
Yeah, it's funny. We didn't. Well, I definitely didn't celebrate Halloween growing up. I don't know if you did, but it's not so much. It's just recently becoming a thing back in the UK that we make a big deal of. But I think when we were children, it wasn't really a thing.
No.
Which is a shame.
So let's touch on your characters for a bit. So Jack, you play Alfred Pennyworth, and Ben, you play Thomas Wayne. So tell us about your characters and what we can see from these two in the 10-episode series airing on EPIX.
I think it's Bruno wrote the show as we went along, and we shot it episode after episode, which I think really shows. And I'm pleased we got to do that because not everyone does. But when we first meet Alfred, he's 26. He's just out of the army, thrust into this civilian world, and he's a young, ambitious, optimistic. I mean, he's 26, but I sort of viewed him as a boy. Really, he's living at home, and he's trying to make his way in the world. But I think by the end of the series, I really think he goes from a boy to a man, really, and he experiences love and loss and a successful business, then bits of everything, and he's a very, very different character by the 10th episode for sure.
I think similar thing to Thomas. I guess with both the characters, we know where they end up in the DC canon, don't we? But this series is looking at how they get there, and I think we see him. He's this East Coast whip-smart billionaire working and caught up in this very covert world in London that I think is the audience. They're not quite sure who he is. He's got a bit of a slippery fish, a bit of a slippery character. And I think like the series chronicles both of their journeys, finding out who they are in their 20s. Basically, they're both thrown a lot of curveballs and put in these kind of morally compromising situations. And they're actually both they're both like quite principled characters. And throughout the series, you see them having to make quite difficult decisions, I think, against who they kind of want to be, but they're drawn into this dark world that we're talking about, this 1960s dark 13 degrees weirder world, and all the challenges that presents. And they're kind of drawn to each other and circling around each other, but they're very suspicious of each other. But there's something that the one another they need from each other.
You guys, I cannot wait to actually sit down and watch this series this weekend. Last question for you both is, what do you really hope the audiences will take away when they watch the show?
The strong desire for many more series.
Yeah, that's right.
Seasons of action. No, I think like we said, for me, the world that Bruno and I guess we have and the whole cast and crew have created, that the world is the most exciting thing about it, and it's a very like unpredictable, strange, very original flavour that I think that he's created. And it's like, it's funny and it's weird and it's very violent and it's action packed and it's thrilling and it's got romance and it's kind of got, it's like we were saying, it's a bit genre bending, like it's hard to pin down. But I guess like the originality of it is something that I'd want people to get excited by.
Yeah, it's really got a little bit of everything for everyone to enjoy and watch, so be sure to catch Pennyworth. It premieres Sunday, July the 28th, 9/8 Central, only on EPIX, because it's going to be epic. Did you get that, guys?
Cheers, Noah, got it.
Thanks.
Take care, talk soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.